Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball machine video for you this evening. Now, if you have not been watching our long series on this beautiful 1976 Playmatic pinball machine, what have you been waiting for? This is Playmatic's new world, and if you haven't heard of Playmatic, again, where have you been? We've been doing these videos for a couple weeks now. I mean, this is a Spanish-made machine. So in the United States, most of the games were made by three major companies. You had Bally, you had Williams, and you had Gottlieb. Some people say Gottlieb, but I refuse to. Bally, Williams, and Gottlieb. And there were a couple others too, like Stern, back in the day. But in 1976, there was a company in Italy making games. I'm not Italy. Yeah, there was an Italy company, Zaccaria, but there was also a Spanish company, Playmatic, making machines. And they made like 70 different titles. So this was not just a one-shot and we're done type of thing. This company made a bunch of games, and they exported them. And so some operators in the United States bought these games, and I would assume that this one was in the United States for its life, but I don't know that for sure. It does have on the coin door tags that say 25 American cents. So it was probably always in the United States, but maybe it was a re-import. So we did a bunch of videos on this. We did one where we showed the condition it was in when we got it. Now, cosmetically, it looks about the same as it did whenever we picked it up. We've just cleaned it up a little bit, and we, of course, cleaned up the Playfield and re-rubbered it and all of that. This thing has held up very nicely for being 45 years old. That's a long time, and it still looks pretty good. The cabinet is made out of, the jury's still out, some people are saying it's chipboard, that it's too thin to be MDF, which would be multi-density or medium-density fiberboard. But it's actually built pretty well. I mean, the whatever the cabinet's made out of is strong, hasn't really been damaged much. Everything's still rock steady. So watch some of the earlier videos. We went into more detail on that. It has a completely American paint job. So they were going ahead and flying the stars and the stripes all over this machine. There's red, white, and blue everywhere. They were into it to win it. In it to win it, or they thought we were, and they were trying to sell more of them to Americans. And I can't hate the player. Good for them. I hope they sold a bunch of them. So I'm trying to think of things that we discovered while we went through it. We did one video where we showed the condition that it was in whenever we got it. One of the things that we did replace was the Playfield glass that was on it was all cracked up, and it was just plate glass. I don't know if it was shipped like that, and that was the original glass, but it wasn't tempered, and it didn't have polished edges or anything. So I mean, you could get cut taking the glass out. So it was, and the corner was chipped off of it, and so that had to go. So we slid in another piece of glass, but the back glass held up very nicely all these years. The cabinet held up very nicely. So we did another video where we worked on the mech board in the bottom of the machine, and it has the score unit, or the score motor is a lot like the Williams ones. The score reels in the back box are a lot like the Bally ones. There's a couple stepper units in it that are a lot like the Gottlieb ones. So they were kind of taking each American company and kind of copying, appropriating, homaging their design. So a lot of the parts in it are very similar to American-made ones. So even in one video, we were working on doing some repair on the spin unit, which we'll show here in a second, or what that does here in a second. And one of the little printed circuit boards, just with traces on it, it didn't have any chips on it. This is 1976, so it's completely electromechanical. But one of the little PCBs had issues where it was burning up because it seemed to have, like it had some kind of oil embedded in it or something that was shorting some stuff out. So anyway, we needed a replacement one, and I was able to get a Bally one off of a parts unit that I had, and it was like the exact same board, fit right in it. So that their little 0 to 9 unit, or whatever it's called, was exactly like the Bally one, like they even copied it. Or maybe Bally copied them, I don't know. So some of the parts you could interchange from other machines. You wouldn't think that it'd be like that, but that's exactly what happened. So we did one of the mech board down on the bottom. We did one of the backboard, the insert board back behind the backglass, you know, because of all of the relays and things up there. This does not have all it has in it is a bonus unit and a ball count unit. It doesn't have a player unit like a lot of the American games had. It uses just relays to do that. So as the ball unit turns, so when it starts on position 1, that's the first ball for the first player. So if you're only playing a one-player game, when the first ball ends, that thing will move forward 4 spots to position 5, which is where the second ball for the first player is. If you're playing a 2-player game, it just moves up 1. Well, as that thing turns, it turns on the coils for the second player, the third player, the fourth player, etc. And so because of that, you don't need a player unit in it. So it's a little bit different than how they did it in most of the American ones, but a similar concept at least. We did a video on the underside of the Playfield, and we discovered when we did that a lot of the switch stacks fall apart on these. So the switches are riveted together, the switch stacks. So like if there's a rollover switch that the ball hits a lever and it pushes down some switches, those switches, that little stack of switches, it's pretty common on Playmatics for the rivets to break on it. And so if the rivets break, you're kind of screwed because the hole through the rivets is so thin that you can't really put a fastener through it easily. So we had to swap out a few of the switch stacks, but that's not a big problem. It's just a thing, you know. That's kind of the one thing that the Playmatics have against them is the switches fall apart a little bit. So you got that. So we figured that out. Also, the sockets, not the greatest for the light bulbs. So we had a lot of light bulb issues. We ended up having literally probably 20 different sockets that I had to either mess with or replace or resolder or whatever, because they weren't doing a good job of holding the bulb, or they just didn't work. And a few of them fell apart. That's not unique to Playmatic. All of the companies had, you know, light bulb problems from time to time. So we figured that out. They have big, heavy-duty drop targets with these big old thick faces on them, so that you don't have many problems with those breaking. And there's a steel arm behind that. Some of the American companies did that on some of their older machines, so that's not completely unique. They have these big square pop bumpers that look great. Boy, they look fantastic. Only the top's square, the bottom is round, just like a normal American one. They have metal rollover lane guides. Very cool. Someone was telling me that some of the older Gottlieb ones had that too. Their Playfield apron is a lot like the Gottlieb ones as well. There are even holes in the apron, in the metal, for lights to be up here. The original Gottlieb games had the lights up here where it would illuminate a piece of paper that would tell you what ball you were on. On this one, it tells you what ball you're on in the backglass there where it says ball in play. It just kind of pops up behind that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which was a common thing a bunch of manufacturers did. But on this one, the ball in play is always illuminated because there's just light bulbs back there. There's no way to turn it off or anything. It has 6 numbers, digits for each player, but the last 2 are dummy reels. I don't know how. I think maybe Bally did that too later on. But so the first 4 numbers, or I should say the top 4 numbers, are actual score reels, and then the last 2 there are complete dummy reels. They're always on 0. It has a little match feature here. At the end of the ball, or at the end of the game, it displays what the number is. Oh, and by the way, I didn't mention that on the last video. It says 600 again, but it does turn, so that changes all the time. We were talking on one of the last videos about I hadn't seen that turn yet, so I wasn't sure if that was working right. It is working right. And so at the end of the game, there's a little flap that comes down so you can see what that number is, and then once the game starts, the flap covers it up again so that you can't try to time your score or whatever to win a free game. So at the end of the game, if your last 3 digits are 600, you win a free game if it matched that number. But next game, that might be 300 or whatever. So the most significant thing about these Playmatics is that they figured out how to make the Playfields last. This thing has no wear on it. None. It has a little bit of kind of production flaws, I guess you could call it. But considering what they were doing at the time, that these things were just going out on location, it's nothing. It's nothing. I mean, so for instance, on the inserts there, see how they look kind of milky? You know, so too, we live in an era now where the collectors, pinball collectors that buy the new machines from Stern and Jersey Jack and Spooky Pinball and stuff like this would drive them crazy. But back in 1976, this stuff was made for operating out on location, and none of the operators cared if that looked like that. None of the players cared if that looked like that. I mean, nobody was going to walk up to that and go, there's ghosting in the displays, or not, or what do they call it? Ghosting in the inserts, or whatever the hell. Right? You're just gonna, if you like the look of the game, you're gonna play it, and if it's fun, you're gonna play it again. But we're in a different era now. People are considering them collectors' items that they're wanting for their house, so they want them to be in perfect shape. So there's a few things like that are flaws of the production, but that has always probably been like that. And we noticed over here, whenever we were working on the Playfield, that there were some places where what looks to be like the varnish that covers the Playfield, or whatever the poly is that's on it, had some bubbles in it, you know, from the factory. So things like that would be unacceptable now, but back then, for a game that was going out on location, it was completely acceptable. No problems. And with the way that they prepared the Playfield, these things come out where they just stay in nice shape. So it literally looks brand new. It's that good. I don't know what they coated them with, but the thing has held up for 45 years. There is not a freaking flaw on it other than the stuff that it was manufactured with. So they look great. Now that's the one thing Playmatic absolutely was running freaking circles around Gottlieb, Bally, and Williams with. So this is how a Playmatic holds up from 1976. And this is how a Williams holds up from the late 60s. I mean, come on. Now, obviously, this one's been abused, played for a long time, with no wax on it. This is a Williams Student Prince. I've showed this one a bunch of times, just because the wear is so bad. Okay, so here is a 1980, is it 1979, 1980, I think it's 1980, 1980 Stern Flight 2000. Playfield completely destroyed. You know. Now, they didn't all do that, but some did. I have never seen a Playmatic with the Playfield with anywhere at all on it. There might be some of them out there, but something about the process that they used, the thing's held up. So that's the one thing that they've really got going for them. Also, the Backglass is held up. It's in nearly perfect condition. A few little flaws I could point out, but in nearly perfect condition. And they went with this whole super American theme, where you've got the rocket over here, they're going to the moon or whatever this is. They've got, we're trying to decide who that is. If that's, I was saying, I thought maybe it was Wild Bill Hickok. But somebody was saying that they thought maybe it was Buffalo Bill, which it could have been, or that they think maybe it was General Custer. Maybe, right? So it's just this Western guy, you know. He's got a long rifle, but he's also got a pistol there on the side. You've also got this locomotive here. Somebody was pointing out that Buffalo Bill, whenever he traveled via train to do his show that he did. You've got the covered wagons here where they look like they're out there in like Colorado or Utah or Nevada. right? But it's just a beautiful backglass. Got so much going on. America, right? Even got a couple big stars up here just for the hell of it. Why not? Get those Americans to drop some quarters in there. They know what we like. The Playfield kind of has this kind of pastel look on some of the inserts. Well, I guess all of the inserts, which is kind of interesting that they chose to do it that way. So the inserts are like pastel orange, a pastel yellow, a kind of pastel looking red, a almost neon looking green. So they had some interesting choices there too. And then you see it again on some of the artwork colors. They're using things like that might be an apricot, right? Or up here you may have a guacamole green. The plastics are really thick too. They're twice as thick as the American plastics. One of them up here was still cracked though. Look at that. I don't know how that happened. But look how thick the edge of that plastic is. It's just they did things a little bit differently, and they did them better in some ways than the American machines. But keep in mind, again, they were not just in this for the hell of it. They made like 70 different machines. So, I mean, this was a significant company with a significant investment and probably sold a lot of machines. You don't make 70 titles unless you're selling them. So they probably did very well. And when I was working on it, I could see why. The thing's well built. Has an interesting build quality to it. So, if I can get my focus to work right. Coin door, very well made. Big, strong coin door. Very similar to the Williams coin doors. Except it doesn't have the Williams logo, which a bunch of people have pointed out to me is the Motorola logo. But I don't know that, folks. We got to figure that out. Are we positive that Motorola was using that logo before Williams was? Are we positive? One of them ripped the other one off, though. It has a big pointy plunger. There was a thing back in the day where some people, instead of doing this, see, there is a gauge here. You're supposed to pull that back to where you think is the right spot and then release the ball so that it does what you want it to do, right? That's called the shooter gauge. Some of them even have little lines, you know. But some people, the way they do it is they would just slap the damn thing with their palm, right? Because that'll work too. But if you slap this one, it's like suicide. I mean, you're like, that thing's going to go up in your arm and you're dead. You bleed out all over the freaking floor. Don't do that. So apparently they wanted people to not do that. All right, so we're going to play it a little bit, but first we're going to read the instructions, because I don't know if you know this, but every game is more fun if you actually read the instructions. All right, now keep in mind it's made by Spain. It's made in Spain, so it's by Spanish-speaking people, so that the translation is a little off, and there's a couple of the rules that are a little, you got to think about it a little bit. Okay, so it says New World, 4 players, 50,000 points, and lights bumpers on top rollover when lit. Now, what the hell does that mean? Well, on the top rollover, these two, see the 2 lanes there? It says 50,000 on the bumper when lit. So you get 50,000 points, and it lights these bumpers if you roll through the one that's lit. The left one is lit. That will alternate back and forth, sometimes the left, sometimes the right. You know, very common on pinball machines, but because of the translation, it's a little, it's not quite as clear as you might want it to be. With the 2 drop targets down, what spin shows when hitting the central target? So you can see now that the way that they're kind of laying this out is just telling you what you can score and how you score it, but it's not, they're not super obvious about it. So with the 2 drop targets down, what spin shows when hitting central target? So you will score what spin shows if you hit this target. So that target there says add bonus. There is a drop target there and a drop target there. If they both go down, this light comes on, spin when lit. And then the spinners, as you hit them, walk this around, right? And so it's on different stuff. Right now it's actually on the special, which is a free freaking game. Holy moly. So if I were to hit that right now, what would happen? It would add bonus because I don't have both of them down. So if both of them go down, that will light. And then if I hit that, I would get the special. It's a little tricky. And so there are all these different things that it can land on. So you can get 6,000 points, or 6,000 points, or 6,000 points, or 6,000 points, or 6,000 points. Or you can get an extra ball. Or over here you can get an extra ball. And then there are these two weird ones that say add score. Okay, so what do they do? Targets A, B, and C off, prepare double bonus. So you have these three stand-up targets, A and B, that are lit, and then C that's lit. If you hit those, it turns off the light. And if all three of them turn off, double bonus lights. And so whenever the ball drains and it counts the bonus, you get a double bonus. When add score is lit, 50,000 points on side rollovers. So again, it's a little tricky. If add score lights up, you do not get 50,000 points on the side bumpers, on the side rollover. It says, when add score is lit, 50,000 points on side rollovers. So you might think it's this one, and no, that one's different, right? It's this one and that one, which technically is a rollover on the side. That's a side rollover, but it's just said a little weird. And if add score lights up, you don't get those. What it means is if add score lights up and both of the drop targets are down, and you hit that target, then you add score, you make this, instead of being worth 1,000 or whatever it is, it's worth 50,000, and that will light up. So one of them does one of them, and then the other one that's add score lights up the other one if you hit the target, which only works if both of the drop targets are already down. So it's a little tricky. Took me a while to figure it out. I had to look in the schematics. When add score and double bonus are lit, it prepares the triple bonus when hitting the central target. Okay? So when you build this all the way up to 20,000 or whatever, no, I got that wrong. I think you just have to have the double bonus. It says when add score and double bonus are lit, prepare the triple bonus when hitting the central target. So double bonus has to be lit, and then the add score. I think it no longer turns on the 50,000. Whenever you hit it, it just lights up your triple bonus. So this is triple bonus here. Triple bonus when lit here. Triple bonus when lit up there. So it's basically telling you it's going to light that. So when you roll through it, you turn on the triple bonus. Or it'll light this. I think it lights them both at the same time. You roll through it, you get the triple bonus. Again, maybe one of them does one and one does the other one. I bet that's what happens. So like if this one lights this for 50,000, if you're on double bonus, instead of lighting that for 50,000, it lights this one for triple bonus or whatever. Okay. Replay by spin when special is lit. So same thing. We're on special right now. If both drop targets are down and you hit that, you get it. By the high score. So if you get 810 points, 810,000 points, you can get a replay. By the match feature, we talked about that. And the tilt penalties the ball in play. So the reason they're telling you that is so that you don't think that the tilt makes you lose the whole game. Alright, so I'm not going to play a ton of games because I've already played it in 2 or 3 videos already, and this is like our 10th video or 12th video. It might be our 20th, I can't remember. It's a bunch. It's more than 7. Bunch of videos. But we'll play it a little bit. Now this thing is very noisy. One of the things that it does different than other companies too is the reset sequence takes longer. So it resets the ball unit first and some other things, and then the bonus unit and blah, blah, blah. And then it resets all of the fourth player scores, which the fourth player scores themselves. Once they get to 0, the switches on that reset all the third player, which resets all the second player, which resets all the first player, and it just takes a while. So there's lots of noisier stuff going around. Whoa. Another thing about it too is the flippers are very powerful. Yeah. Oh, got the double bonus. Now I got to build that bonus. Let me at it. Let me at it. Oh, trying to get that drop. Let me get that drop. Oh, not quite enough. If you count the chimes, sometimes when it's doing a lot of chimes, you'll miss a couple of them. Like, it's just a thing. So sometimes you'll get, like if you're getting 40,000 points, it's going da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. You're getting the points, but you don't get you don't hear all of the chimes. Just because of the physical nature of the chime, the plunger hitting the chime and then falling back down. Oh, about jumped the flipper. Oh no. Oh no, that was horrible. This is just our warm-up game, people. We're just getting warmed up, okay? Don't fret. Look at those spinners. Look at that spinner. I let it bounce. Alright, so we got 497,000 points. It's a very high scoring game. I've got it playing pretty good, I think. I mean, I see a couple things that aren't perfect, but all in all, it's playing pretty good. Ooh. There is a jumper under the playfield where you can change the voltage going to the flippers and the pop bumpers to make it stronger or weaker. I've got it on strong. In through the outdoor. Oh man. Now, people, I can't beat on the game. One, it's not my game, and two, the camera's in the way. You're right here in front of me on a tripod, so I can't like shake the game that much. If I knock you in the floor, you might sue me. Ah, look at that. So we're just trying to play it a little bit, make sure everything's cool, make sure all the kinks are worked out. I've had people ask in the past about when one pop bumper goes down, they see the other one go down. That's how this one's designed. Some games, that's how they design them. Okay, I won't tell you the score that time. Let's play it again. Oh. Oh, come on. Are we going to blame it on the tilt? Oh, I was asleep at the wheel. It's a throwaway game here anyway. We all know it. All right, we got to play better than that. I want to get at least one decent game. That's what I'm talking about. Beat up them banks. All right, I got 185,000 on the first ball. It's a little more like it. Missed it. Got a free ball. Shoot again. You can't see it. It's down below the flippers. All right, so that's the end of ball 2, but I get another ball 2, and we're at 460,000. Now, I'm not even that good, people, but this game is a high-scoring game. Oh, not quite enough. All right, end of the second ball 2, 556,000. Oh, I missed it. Got my A. I'm in my B. The way some of those targets are put together, there's 2 switches on the target. And so if you hit it lightly, sometimes you only hit one of the switches. Okay, so I see I dropped both drop targets. So now whatever I hit in the middle, you actually score. Ugh, man, it took it from me. All right, so that's the end of ball 3. Got 754,000. So what I was saying was, some of these switches, just the way it's designed on these machines, there's like 3 blades, and so when you hit it, you kind of touch all 3 together, which makes this a switch and this a switch. And so sometimes if you just barely touch it, you only hit one of the switches, and the second one doesn't hit. So it's not really a flaw. It's just how it was designed, or how it plays out because of the way that they built the switches. So sometimes, like on some these ones with the lights, you're supposed to get points and turn the light off. But if you just barely hit it, you might only turn the light off. Give me them points. Beat up the banks. Boy, that's a smooth shot. Oh, man. I don't know, people. I got robbed. So I've only got 793,000. I was going to try to roll it, but I've never rolled anything. So I'm not really the rolling type of guy. But I'm at 793,000. That's the last ball. Oh, they took it from me. Come on now. Come on now. Well, there you go, people. What a beautiful machine. Look at it. It's just gorgeous. Look at it. Look at it in all its glory. So I got 818,000. That's pretty decent. That's not bad. By the way, on a previous video, we worked on these lights, and the way they did it was every other light is lit up. If you notice, all those are lit up, all those are lit up, all those are lit up. And whenever it's your turn, a 1 lights up and all 6 of the lights turn on. But these stay the way they are. And then whenever it's the second player's turn, a 2 lights up and all 6 of these turn on, but these 3 go back off. Just a unique way of doing it. So there you are, people. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a fun series and a fun game. By the way, our match is on 000, and I had 600, so it does move and change, and it made it where I didn't win a match this time. So, oh, I won a free game, though, I think. I think I won a free game because I got over 810. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. Make sure to check out my brother, Donnie, if you don't know about that. My brother has a channel. It's our brother channel. And if you like watching us work on these old pinball machines, you might like watching he and I work on old buildings. We have some old buildings that we bought in a town near here in their downtown area, this small little town. And we're trying to fix them up to help revitalize the downtown area. And so far, it's been going great. So check that out. We've been filming all that stuff. I'm over there with him a lot, but he does other stuff too. He's pretty wild. And thank you to everybody that's been using our Amazon links. If you don't know about that, there is a link down below to Amazon. If you click that before you buy anything on Amazon, it gives me money. What? What? That's pretty awesome. So basically, that's how they advertise. I'm telling you to go to Amazon right now. I'm advertising Amazon. So if you go there and you use my link, I get a tip. It's as simple as that. And it doesn't raise your price, and it gives me some of their money. Can you believe that? I can't believe they let us do that. They'll probably stop now that I said it like that. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. And also check out our website. Go to lionsarcade.com. We have a site, you know, shows all of our arcade games that we have available for sale, and pinball machines, jukeboxes. We're a little low right now, to be honest with you. But go check it out. It also shows what we've got coming up. And then we have a parts page where some of the parts that we use and supplies that we use to work on these machines, there's links to stuff like that there. And also some of our merchandise. So we have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have coffee mugs, all that stuff where you can support the channel if you want in style. So make sure to check that out, lionsarcade.com. I hope you enjoyed. It's a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below, and we'll see you on the next one.